Yo, good morning and welcome to another episode of the Road FS Detail Bookie Podcast. It is Thursday and it is warm in Idaho and I am loving it.
Yep, it's probably going to be 80 degrees today.
Dude.
A couple days ago, the nighttime low was 36. So it's
loving it. I already pulled the boat out, getting it ready to
let's go.
Hit the water. So I would be going this weekend, but I'm going to a dad conference in Detroit where I'm one of the guest speakers. So I'll be going from 80 to whatever Detroit is.
Detroit, man. So, I can think of about 250,000 places I'd rather be than Detroit. So
yeah, but it's a good mission. So I'm super excited. So guys, we have another amazing guest joining us today. Mr. Justin Wamsley, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that last name right. Is that correct?
Close. Wamsley.
Wamsley. I was like, it's either Wamsley or Wamsley, and I wasn't sure. So he is the owner of EcoShine Detailing and the Detail Supply Depot.
And where are you out of, Justin? What?
So I'm out of Toledo, so I'm actually like an hour from Detroit.
There you go.
Oh, you're not far,
though.
Yes.
You're right there.
Man.
So yeah,
that's good. So do you see Toledo Tim very often?
I actually didn't know about him until MTE, and we connected after MTE. So
awesome.
He's supposed to stop by my detail supply store. I'm waiting for him to stop in, but no, I didn't have any conversations with him yet. But looking forward to it.
So Tim, you got to go connect with Justin. So yes, please do that. So, well, we're super excited to have you. I've been following you on socials for a minute. Then we had the chance to connect at MTE, and it's been great. So let's talk about your journey into detailing. I mean, you have a detail shop, and now you have a detail supply depot. Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I originally started this business just to pay for my wedding. It was just a thing that I was like, well, I need some extra cash. No one's going to pay for my wedding.
I don't think we've ever heard that one.
Yeah, no. It's just, I mean, I detailed my wife's car to sell it, and I did a pretty good job. I had no idea what I was doing, like zero idea. And I detailed it, sold it same day. The girl was like, this looks amazing. I was like, well, I mean, I did a good.
Oh, and we lost him. What is it up? Dang, right mid-sentence. He's gone. This is 2 weeks in a row where he's back.
He's back. A freaking phone call. Hold on a second, guys.
Yeah, all right, you got to put it in do not disturb.
Yeah, give me a second.
That's okay.
I didn't realize it did that.
Let me make sure mine's a do not disturb too. So.
You're totally fine. It's better that way. People know it's real. See that?
There we go.
AI.
His customers calling.
All real.
Yeah, no AI here, man.
There's no AI. If we were doing AI, you think I'd really look like this?
Yeah. So where'd I stop at? I started it to pay for the wedding, right? So I had a Dodge Charger at the time. I threw all my stuff in it. This was before like YouTube videos and how-tos, and I just went at it and just got customer after customer. And I was working at the hospital at the time because I was going to college to get my degree in exercise science. And so it just took off. And I was like, well, I enjoyed doing this. And for me as a business owner, my most important thing is freedom. I love freedom. You can't replace it. No amount of money in the world could replace it. So I just kept growing it from, starting to detailing out of the Charger, and then we went into a trailer. Then we got a van. Then we got a shop. Then we got a second shop. Then we got more vans, and just kind of year after year, just trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger, but not too fast,
Yeah, which is smart because a lot of times businesses will overextend themselves to get bigger, and then that's where they go out of business.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. You really emphasize freedom. What does freedom look like to you?
So obviously, like, I want to make money in what I'm doing, but just to be able to wake up in the morning and do what I want to do. I put my terms on my days. I don't have to answer to anyone but myself and my wife, and I can do whatever I want. I could take a vacation when I want to. I could I could work that day as hard as I want or as least as I want. My day is dictated based on how I feel, and I
Hmm.
think you just can't replace that. And I get it, like in the beginning of like starting your detailing business, you can't do that. You're more on the grind of actually like trying to grow it. But luckily I've gotten to a place where I kind of could step back and just enjoy it.
So how has that growth evolved? Clearly, it wasn't accidental. You know,
No.
you're driven by freedom, so you're driven by purpose, right? A long-term vision of what freedom looks like to you. How did you strategically grow that from a detail thing into what you're now doing with the detail shop or a supply store?
Yeah, no, I think for me, I would never say that I'm like the absolute guru when it comes to business. I always listen to other people and like how to grow their business. I've done failures and I've had successes. When we opened up our second location in Toledo, which is like 20 miles from where we're at right now in Maumee, it was great for the first 3 years, and then you start looking at it like maybe this wasn't the greatest decision. So I've grown too fast, and then we took a step back and we moved everyone over here to Maumee. And we took about 2 years, and we are like, what's the next step? What are we going to do? And we have our paint protective film store right next to our detail shop. We had all this extra space, and we went back and forth with ideas of what to do. And I didn't want to jump into something that was um, really saturated in my market. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay, well, we do detailing. We know detailing. We know products. We know people. And then we did 2,000 cars last year through our detail shop, and we never pushed
Wow.
any we never pushed any products on any customers, none, zero. And I said, you know what? Let's turn this space over here into a detail supply store, send our customers over there. And then it kind of just tumbled. Let's start selling online. I already know a bunch of detailers. I know how to connect with them. So just like baby steps. I think like if you're gonna grow a business, you can't just like leap and bound and jump into something major. And I've learned from that, obviously, and it was costly, but it's a lesson that you learn that's worth the money that you spend, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
I think it's one of the biggest lessons that Jody and I learned years and years ago is we heard this, and I can't even remember who we heard it from, but somebody said sometimes you need to slow down to speed up
yeah,
because you're going so fast to try to get there so fast that you end up taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Whereas if you slow down, you can progress it as you can and move forward with it. And I think that is one of the big lessons that we learned after doing this for 250 years, something like that, is that it's going to grow how it's going to grow, and you've got to be able to react, right? There's no no denying that you got to react. If the market takes off in a certain direction, you either got to just choose to do that or not do it, and you can't second guess that. But it's one of those things where it's like every time you get something, you don't want to go, well, let's hire another guy, let's hire another gal, let's hire 2 more people, let's do 5 more vans. And I have a brother-in-law that has a business, and at one time he had like 4 crews, and his margin was like whatever, let's say it was 30%. Well, he got more crews and his margin went down to like 20%. And he's like, I'm actually making less money with more people and more revenue coming in. So he scaled the business back and actually increased his margin because he's like, I was spending my whole day just figuring out what the hell these 5, 6 crews were doing. So sometimes that's what it takes, or it takes going in a different direction. So how long has the detail supply business been going on?
I just opened the door. Well, I did my first shipments this past week.
Oh wow!
We just opened the doors.
New.
It's brand, dude, it is brand new. And I'm gonna grow this business slowly but surely. Me and Austin were talking. Austin is my business partner over at EcoShine. He runs a day to day, and I'm running this now. And I told him, I was like, when we started this, we didn't think about it. Like, hey, are we going to hire any people to run this place? And I was like, I don't think we're going to have the money to do that. Like, we could take money from EcoShine, but this is 2 different things, So we have to run this as a very lean operation. And my strategic goal is just get customers, take good care of them, give them good pricing, and be honest with them and fast shipping. And if they have any issues, just give me a phone call, and I can lend that 13 years of experience onto what they need. And just be really lean with it. It's definitely something new, but it's not as new for us because like we've been in the industry for so long. It's just a different realm of the industry. So
Right.
brand new, man. It's brand new.
So what? We'll give a little plug for your Detail Supplies. What do you carry? What brands do you carry?
So right now we carry mostly PDP products. They're based out of Canton. I've been using them for 10
Yep.
years. They're
Yep,
great stuff.
Mike and Mike.
Yep, great guys, man. Very affordable products. It's really highly concentrated. There's a product for every situation, even some overlapping products too. We're going to be carrying. We have 3D. We've got a bunch of towels. We're bringing stuff that we're going to private label as well. That we're going to be really discounted. Like I have a vacuum coming in that's going to be roughly like $399, but it's a dual stage motored vacuum that usually is like $1,000. So my goal with this is like I want to provide products and equipment to detailers for a very affordable price. Because I've been there where I would just go out and get like a cheap piece of equipment because that's what I could afford. And I want to bridge that gap between like really cheap and really expensive. And that's where we're at right here. So we're going to be carrying a lot of like Geon, we're going to have that. We're working on Kosh Chemi, Stark, a couple other boat brands. So I'm trying to add at least one vendor every couple of weeks. That's what my goal is.
Okay.
That's nice.
That's awesome. I mean, being so close to Canton. That's what I wondered is because the PDP products are really good products. They've been doing that for a long time. The team is amazing at PDP. I mean, it's
Mike and Mike and the new guys.
Yeah,
coming up. The Suns.
So it's a good place, and that's a really good community there. We know a lot of the detailers in that area there, Billy Smith and Toledo Tim and Blue Line, which isn't too far away. And there's a ton of people there that are really,
Mike's Marine Care is not too far away.
Mike's Marine Care, he's up in he's a little further.
Michigan,
a little further, but still.
But that's a good area. You guys are, you got a lot of the automotive history right there. There's a lot of the good years and so what do you see? I mean, obviously,
Detail Bookie.
Yeah, the Detail Bookie.
Detail Billy.
Detail Billy. Yeah, I know Billy. I've known Billy for years, like probably since I started my detailing business. When I was brand new, I stopped out at one of his old shops and just introduced myself to him years ago when I was in the area. So he's a good dude. He really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
There's
so
good people.
So as you've kind of 13 years, that's quite a journey, right?
It is.
What have been some things that tripped you up early on that if you had advice to give that will be helpful for guys earlier in their career?
I like to be upfront with people when, like, especially like for me, I've experienced like probably all the highs and all the lows you could in business. I would say make sure that your insurance is covering to a certain extent. We had a lawsuit in 2019 or 2020, and it shook me to the core. We had an issue at the shop, and the guy went for everything because of his car. So I would say just make sure you get with your insurance agent and make sure you're covered exactly what you're covered for. And just because they say you have a garage keeper's policy or whatever, you got to look into those details and say, hey, if this situation happens, what would happen? Will they supply an attorney for you if you do get sued? Luckily for us, we ended up on the bright side of it, but there was a scratch in the guy's car and he ended up getting $75,000 because of it.
Holy crap! Wow. His car probably wasn't even worth that.
No, it was worth it. It was worth. I mean, accidents happen, man. We touch 2,000 cars a year. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
So
the car got. That's what I think people don't understand, that we have what's called errors and omissions. So if it's an error on the fault of us or our employees, and you need to ask the question of how much per instance, not total lifetime, how much per instance, because a lot of times what'll happen is that you'll have a policy and it may sound great, but you get one instance and it's over,
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you've got a good policy that covers, like you said, garage keepers, errors and omissions, Make sure you're covering it so that if you have employees, I think that's really important. And it's well worth your time to go and interview them and be really, really, thorough in your questioning, like you said.
Well, and I think a lot of times in small business owners' defense, they don't know what questions to ask.
Right.
Until
Right.
all of a sudden you
Right.
get slapped with this lawsuit, right? And so I think it's okay to go, what am I not thinking of? Right. And that can be not only to your insurance agent, but a trusted advisor like Detail Billy or somebody like that. Because, dude, when you're running out of the gate and you're building a business, a lot of times you're just focused on building the business, and then you get blindsided by an accident or a jerk of a customer or negligence on your part, right? And there's so many factors that can really trip you up. But man, we know what it's like to get sued out of the gate. They're 3 years into the business, and dude, it just rocks you mentally. It rocks you emotionally, and you're like, how the heck am I going to get through this? And if you don't have the right things in place, it can really trip you up.
Yeah, and it's, a lot of guys out there are watching this video. You have to make sure, and I was really good about it, and luckily I was, because if you're going to get sued by someone, they're going to do two things. You guys know this. They're going to come after your company, and they're going to come after you personally, okay? So at the end of the day, your LLC is going to protect you to a certain point. It's not a perfect situation. You have to make sure your funds are separate. So if you go out to lunch and you're going to pay for yourself, yeah, you can pay with your company card, but don't buy movie tickets on your company card. Don't buy this and that personal on your company card. You have to keep them separate. They call it piercing the corporate veil, and you're intermingling funds. Do not do that, because when you get sued, they will come after you personally, and they will come after your company. So just make sure that you protect yourself and do not allow that to happen. Luckily for us, that didn't happen, and our insurance ended up paying on the lawsuit, thankfully. But yeah, man, it changed everything how we did, because the whole premise of it, they've got this, a lot of people probably don't know about this in industry. They have this act that's just called the Consumer Care Act. And what it means is, if you provide a service to a customer and you don't fulfill that service, they could turn around and sue you for almost twice as much with attorney fees. There's a lot of stipulations in it, but our situation was, I didn't give the guy the correct quote, like a handwritten quote for this job we were doing. His car ended up getting damaged, unfortunately, at the shop. And then they turn around and say, okay, you're frauding customers. That's how the snowball works. So if you got to make sure when you get a customer in, that you have to give them a quote. And this was before I had Detail Bookie. So yeah, so this would have been 6 or 7 years ago. So luckily now with Detail Bookie, you call in, we answer the call, we fill out the information. There is a quote. There's no question. You get it sent to your email, you get it sent to your phone. Back then it was pen and paper, like, oh yeah, we'll do this. Oh yeah, we'll do this. And then, oh yeah, I'll shoot it to your email. And then you get busy throughout the day and you forget about it. And that's how that thing tumbled into what it was. So you have to give a quote. You always have to. Handwritten or digital, always.
Yep. And the thing is that's part of making sure that you have the understanding with the clients, and you need to have things in there in your T's and C's, which most people have on their website, but you need to have something in there that states, hey, this is an aggressive process. There's a chance that the paint will be, damaged. If it does, we cover that, blah, blah, blah. And make sure you've mentioned it up front, because that is a hard thing to do. And I think that to this, what I was going to say is, talk to other detailers, talk to somebody that's been in the industry 13 years or 10 years or 20 years or whatever, and find out about that. I look back at some of the stuff we've gone through, and we've been sued. We've had people, blast us that were false. This is way before AI. This is years and years ago. We had somebody put on, when Google reviews first came out, we got some guy that went out and blasted us on Google reviews. We'd never done business.
He wasn't
with.
even a customer.
The wrong business. We couldn't get rid of it. I mean, it's just
yeah.
Oh man.
You've got to cover those things. And I think the standard, what people go to is they're like, oh well, I have an attorney. I have one. He's my guy. We shook hands, and if I ever need him, I need him. But did you ask him the right questions? The same thing you mentioned, LLC. Make sure that you're putting your corporation or your LLC in the right brackets. Accountants, your accountants and your lawyers. I talk to them all the time, because
they're invaluable.
They will help you to get where you need to be.
They're pricey, but they're invaluable.
It's
They
definitely
will
worth it,
save your butt. So I have a question about marketing, and partly because you had quite the fun experience a couple weeks ago buying some marketing paraphernalia, some stickers, and you got them in there, little itty bitty things. Right. So let's talk about how small those are.
That's tiny.
Let's talk about marketing. You know, a lot of guys that want one of the most common questions in forums is, how do I get more business? So how did you go about, both on the detailing side and now that you're in this new venture, how are you marketing those, and are they different approaches?
So I'm going to be different than everyone else. I'm going to tell you, I do it. Obviously, there's easier ways of marketing now with, ads and everything, because I didn't have that originally. I'm all about tying your shoes, going to places, introducing yourself. I've always said this from the get-go. People buy from people.
Mm-hmm.
People buy from relationships. So if you introduce yourself to someone and you obviously tell them about your business and you tell them what you do and you introduce yourself, you're going to have a greater success of getting that client versus like someone seeing an ad online. That's just my personal opinion. Now, stepping back from that, because like in EcoShine, we've never done any form of marketing ever. We've always just take care of our customers, build our customer base, and just keep pushing forward. But this year, we are going to be doing some form of marketing, a little bit of ad spend, but I'm not going to do thousands and thousands of dollars a month. I'm probably just going to stick to a small budget and just see how it rocks. With Detail Supply Depot, again, I spent all the money that I had allocated for this business on product as best as I could, and getting the website up and going. And I'm just hopping in forums. I'm throwing in, my 2 cents in the products, just throwing links. So I'm still doing the same type of thing, and eventually I'm gonna go out to the dealerships and introduce myself to the dealerships and other detailers in the area. So I don't think anytime soon I'm going to be putting money into marketing, because I'm treating this as a business. I have no money. So I have to like do the legwork to actually get the business.
Yeah, I like that approach, because I remember when Rod and I started our company in 2009, we had this idea for RoadFS, and we came with the vision and a plan, and we're like, dude, how are we going to market this? So I literally called up service companies in the Valley, and I said, hey, can I come meet you for 30 minutes for coffee or whatever? And I'd like to show you what we're developing in our CRM. And I would love if you would tell me what it's missing. Dude, people are excited to tell you what it's missing, right? And sometimes that would lead to a customer. Sometimes it would lead to tons of great feedback that helped us build a roadmap that became RoadFS. And dude, the first 3 years, 5 years, we didn't spend a dime on marketing. No. It was all face-to-face, asking questions, getting feedback, introducing ourselves, going to Boise Chamber events. You'd go to one, I'd go to one, Ben would go to one. And that's, just making that face-to-face connection really helped us build.
And guys started. Yeah. And that's the thing that's changing. Cause like guys now have a leg up than it was when I first started, when you guys first started. All you have to do is hop on ChatGPT and just put a prompt in, and it spits out like businesses or areas or ideas that you could literally market out and just spend a day and write down, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I'm going to do this, this, and this, and go out and hand out business cards, flyers, give specials. I mean, there's ways to really market yourself out there. I mean, there's money to be spent and there's money to be had. I mean, you could certainly do it without even, obviously spending any of your money, just your time.
Well, and I think that's where the changes are coming so rapidly with some of the AI tools that people are doing it themselves. I remember not too many years ago when people were spending $2,000 and $3,000 a month on marketing from an agency that would go out and do this stuff. And I'm like, that's unheard of. Nobody spends that kind of money. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You don't need to. But I also think that it's people understanding their market and what they want to do, right? I'm sure there's people that are going to hear this. They're going to be like, 2,000 cars a year. Oh my God, I wish I had 2,000 cars a year. Well, it also depends on what you're doing, right? Yep. You could do 800 cars a year, and depending on the type of cars and the services you're providing, that might be too much or not enough or whatever. So I think a lot of times people reach outside of their own market and their own target audience to get advice, and it's not apples to apples, it's apples and pears, right? I mean,
Yep.
you're in Ohio, you guys get weather, you guys get snow and ice and crap like we get here. Well, if you're in Florida, or you're in Southern California, or you're in Arizona, in certain parts, you don't get that weather. So getting advice on marketing in January is not the same in Ohio as it is in Central Texas.
Miami.
So
Yeah.
people have got to look internal. And I think that's hard, because it'd be super easy for me to have a detail supply shop in Boise, Idaho, and collaborate with you and be like, hey, Justin, what are you finding that's working? Because there's no competition, right? But
Right.
the best advice and probably the best market research is going to be down the street from you. So, for a lot of people won't talk to the detailer down the street, and you probably should, because it's a collaboration thing. It's like, hey, if I get too busy, I'll send them to you. If you get too busy, send them to me. And get over the stigma of another detailer, because there are hundreds of thousands of things to detail in the world, in the United States, in your state. I mean, everywhere. It's all over the place. So
Yeah, it's definitely strategy wise is different than every other market. I agree with you 100%, because I want to plan for the winter. I've done a poor job of planning for winters. Like our business like cuts in half easily, or 50% at least. And I've never planned for wintertime versus a guy in Florida. Obviously the business might drop a little bit, but not percentage wise. It's not going to be exactly the same. And the packages I'm going to offer here are going to be completely different there. So you really just got to stay in your own little cocoon, and focus on what's going to be working for you versus like looking outside and saying, oh, these guys are doing this and they're doing that. But really, you just got to focus on yourself and, make yourself better rather than, looking outside.
Well, and then you look at we always talk about winter because that's the adverse temperatures that we get in the states we're in. But when you go to Florida, or you go to Houston, Texas, or you go to Southern California, summer is that way because it's so hot that
Really?
you can't do
What's the
certain
work?
things. You can't
Really?
go outside and do a ceramic coating. You can't go out and wash the products dry before they're even on the car. So it's a different set of
Well, it's
criteria.
like Arizona. I was talking to our friend Cairo, and he's like, I have to plan my day so I'm done at 11 o'clock in the summer.
Yeah.
He goes, it's just too hot. I'm all mobile. He goes, after 11 o'clock, it's 118 degrees. He goes, there's not a lot I can do in 118 degrees. And dude, I can't breathe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we were in Houston, Texas, and I just happened to be there. Luck of the draw there. I got there when there was the hurricane coming through.
No, that was Miami or Florida.
I was in Houston.
Oh,
as well.
was it Houston?
I was in 2 hurricanes in 1 year. The problem with those
good thing I wasn't traveling with
that's
you.
a hurricane season. There's nothing happening right then. It's horrible. It's super humid. It's nasty. It's the devil dragging his butt across your forehead in the middle of summer. It's horrible. So I think everybody has that unique thing, but you need to find somebody that you can collaborate with, because you'll get good information from somebody even if they're in a different market. But if you really want to look at your own market, you need to find something that's similar, not something that's, I'm in the middle of Hawaii and I'm dealing with, high-end luxury stuff versus, my business is all around mom minivans and Toyota Corollas. So
yeah, I think that is important. You don't want to compare yourself to someone that's doing a totally different service than you, because you just cannot compare. I mean, yeah, it's great doing all the high-end stuff, and I love when nice cars come in. Like we got a Corvette right there, and there's another Corvette right there, but those are the kind of cars I like dealing with. Sub $100,000 something cars. When you get into like the really expensive ones, you're like, man, should I work on it or should my employee work on it? I got which employee should I put on it? What kind of package? There's a lot involved in that. So kudos to guys who do high-end cars all day long. I'd love to come in your shop and see how you do it. Again, I'd love learning from other people. So, but you want to come to my shop and see how we do things? Yeah.
You should go visit Detail Boss, the two brothers
in Arizona.
In Arizona, Christian and Chris Parker.
Christian,
those guys,
yep.
They do a lot of high-end cars, man. In fact, I think that's all they do is high-end cars.
Sure it is. But I think the thing about that is, and Jody and I have been extremely lucky, and I try to mention that every time we talk about some of the things we've gotten to do. You really have to go. You look at a high-end car; it's just another car. It's just paint. It's just another detail. And
Just a
because
few
I think
more
a
zeros.
lot of people get really nervous when they're about to work on one. And it's kind of like that, if you ride motorcycles and you're going down a big hill and you're speeding and there's one telephone pole, the last thing you want to do is get stuck in your head. Don't hit the telephone pole. Don't hit the telephone pole. Don't hit the telephone pole, because you're going to hit it.
You're gonna hit it.
So if you're working on
The
a high
bike leads where
you're
your
like,
eyes are.
yeah, don't burn the paint. Don't burn the paint. Guess what's going to happen? You just have to look at it and do the same stuff. I'm going to measure the paint. I'm going to do a test spot. I'm going to try to do the least aggressive first. All the rules that we follow in detailing, you just do the same thing on that car. And I had the opportunity to do a really super high end car, one of one. And I was working on it, and then I found out the value of the car.
He was giddy like a
completely
kid.
changed my mindset, because this
How much
car
was it worth?
$500 million.
God dang. Yeesh.
So
Yeah.
and I didn't know that. I knew it was expensive, but I didn't know what the insurance on the car. It's Steve McQueen's personal Jaguar is what it was. And
That's
so
insane.
I knew it was expensive, but then when I heard that out of the back of my head of what it was valued at, I can tell you for sure that my butt puckered a lot.
He post puckered.
I mean, holy cow. But that's, I think, the thing is you got to stop that mentality. It's just a car. So,
Yeah.
I had to step back, take a deep breath, and I looked at Jody and went, whew, okay, here we go. So yeah, super fun, but there's only so many of those cars out there. I think it's, you can make a great living off of Toyota Corollas and mom minivans if you've got the right services and you take care of your customers.
Yep.
So you mentioned earlier that you had this space, right, that you're trying to figure it out, and you're doing some PPF. So are you guys doing a lot of PPF?
So Frankie's in here right now. I trained him a couple years ago on PPF, and we were collaborating together over the last 8 years. We've been doing it. Eventually I broke off about 2 years ago, and he's been doing a solo, and it's great. We do a car a day, very simple operation. We've got a very small bay in here. It goes on the lift. It's the only car being worked on. I mean, could we scale it? We're thinking about it this year, maybe hiring someone for prep and print and all that stuff. But right now we've got a good thing going. It's scalable if we want to do it, but right now I'm not going to. Again, it goes back to you grow too fast, because I could hire someone and then I can't provide them work. Why would I want to do that? So it's a good operation. That's why we had all this empty space here. We're already paying for it. So I was like, well, let's just throw a detail supply store in here. And then the customers that come in here for supplies, they'll see all of our paint protective film and say, hey, next time I want to get my car done, I'm going to come to you guys and get film on it. So I don't know, I'm killing two birds with one stone, I guess you could say. So
yeah,
I do love PPF. I do love it. We're gonna hold some classes here maybe, and do
cool.
I think we could teach a couple guys in the industry. And again, I want to get towards not advanced stuff, but guys that want to learn how to do headlights and door cups and door edges. They want to go out to dealerships and get their feet wet in it, because man, starting out PPF, I mean, I've always tell people it's a $10,000 investment. You better be willing to throw that right in the trash, because the first year or two you are not going to be very good at it, and you'll get good, but it's going to take practice, man. It takes a lot of practice, but it's rewarding though. It's rewarding. It really is, because you add another service to your business. You bring up the value and revenue. So we're gonna do some classes here eventually. So, and again, it's gonna be affordable class. That's what I'm gonna do. All affordable here.
Well, one of the things that there's kind of this theme running through your evolution. It's like not growing too fast, right? It's like being comfortable, being in a spot, and recognizing that it can scale, but not being forced to scale. Right. Or so in a hurry to scale that you're tripping up. And I love that, because it goes back to your mission and vision of having freedom to choose, freedom to grow, freedom to stay where you are, freedom to just go, you know what? We're going to ride this wave a little longer. And when we get down to a little farther down the road, maybe we'll make a different decision. But maybe we'll stay right here. Dude, that's power.
But I think that you can change the word freedom for it's on your terms.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the key to it. Is, to me, that's what, when Jody asked the question, what do you think freedom is? Freedom is the ability to do things on your terms. It's not having to answer to somebody else in a sense. I mean, obviously you answer to everybody else. You answer to your customers, your business partners, your wife, your kids, the dog. You answer to all kinds of stuff all day long. But on the business side of things, you get to make those decisions. Do we move forward or do not move forward? Are we going to buy 500 gallons of that, or should we buy 250 gallons of that and 250 of that? And those kind of decisions, it's rewarding. It's also very stressful. And that's why everybody doesn't do it, because they don't want to put that kind of responsibility on their own shoulders.
Right.
Business owners are a little bit psychotic in that sense, that we like to have that decision on our shoulders. We like to make that decision. But I think the key is staying grounded. And one of those is simple. It's like, when you make a mistake, you gotta answer to yourself.
Own it.
You can't make an excuse to yourself. If you're looking in the mirror and you're making an excuse, well, the reason that happened is because, I was listening to AC/DC and then that's why I burnt through the paint. Because no, you can't lie to yourself. You know the reason. I didn't measure the paint. I thought I knew what I was doing and I burnt through the paint. I was in
a hurry.
And you got to just own up to it. That's the thing, is you got to own up to your mistakes. And I think that's the really hard for certain business owners. I believe personally that's why some business owners fail, is they're not willing to take on the full ownership of the good and the bad.
Yep. You can't always see the grass on the other side as always being like the place you're always going to be, because you're always going to be in a position where you have to make hard decisions and situations that you don't like to be in, but you just have to be in them, and you're going to grow from them too. And I think people that are going to be watching this, if let's say you are like a one-man crew and you do decide that you want to like hire people at some point, because I feel like that everyone's end goal is to hire people. Some situations is not, it's their goal, but if you do want to hire, great. My word of advice would be a mirror to your staff. So I've built a culture in my staff where, again, I have freedom, they have freedom too. So Frankie over here, he's got kids just like me. If he's like, hey dude, I'm taking next week off. Hey, cool, do your thing, man. You can do whatever you want. Hey, I'm gonna take this car. I'm gonna spend all day doing it. I'm gonna take 2 days to do it. Cool. It's very, very independent. I want them to have a life that they're happy with, that they want to come to work. They don't have to feel stressed about coming to work. You have to mirror exactly what you envision onto other people, because you can't expect people to be exactly like you, but you do want them to be somewhat reasonable. Like before we got on the call, Austin came over and he told me about a situation that happened yesterday with a key being lost in a car or something like that. And I looked at him, I was like, I already knew what he was going to say, but at the end of the day, I knew what he was going to do. He was going to take care of that customer no matter what, flat out. It's our mistake. We're sorry. Give her a refund, give her a free detail, get her a new key. I don't care. Whatever it takes. If it costs us money, so be it. Because at the end of the day, like you'd rather have a happy customer than an upset customer, because I'll lose sleep over it. I really will. Like an upset customer, I will lose sleep. And I think my staff is along the same lines with me. They envision the same thing. So mirror yourself onto your staff.
Right. And that's the thing, is it's coming up with that expectation of what the company delivers.
Yeah.
And that is, I think that's what's important. It's a lot of people that struggle with employees. It's well, he doesn't do it or she doesn't do it the same way I do. Well, is the outcome, is the deliverable what the company has set as an expectation? And that's what's important, is customers come in, it doesn't matter which person does the service, they should get the same outcome every time. If they come in and I do it and I, put a little fancy bow on the mirror and they love that and nobody else does, then we got a problem, because we've got an individual service that I do that no one else does. But if we train everybody to give the same service, the same level of service, then that is where you get a company culture that works.
Yep. And I have to figure out this whole key situation and figure out how that happened. And then we're going to have and then, you don't harp on them. You know what I mean? You're not going to bash your employee and say, dude, you did this, you did this, you did this. Just literally, you talk to them in the morning and be like, hey, what happened? Oh, this. All right, dude, like next time, don't do that. Let's do this next time, or call us, blah, blah, blah. So you got to come up with a situation to fix the situation so it doesn't happen again, hopefully. But that was in 13 years, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone doing that. So I'm glad it happened and I'm glad we're taking care of it. But yeah, you just gotta, we're all human, man. Even robots make
Yeah.
mistakes, so
Yeah.
just
Well, you
just
got to
treat
be
your staff
empathetic,
well.
and you got to. I'm going to tell a story. I won't use names because the person didn't want to get in trouble. But a friend of a friend had a young daughter, and she had somebody in the mom's car, and her passenger had a basically like a vape pen with weed in it.
Ooh.
And they lost the little capsule in the car. And the girl was freaking out because if my mom finds out that there's in there, I'm going to get in trouble, right? It wasn't hers. So mistakes, what's that? So she actually, they brought it to my shop, which I don't do anything commercially for customers. I just do it myself and everything. But she brought it to my shop. I literally almost had to remove the seat. I had to loosen the seat. I had to take the carpet up. And then down inside of a rib underneath the carpet, I found this little capsule. And I took it out and I gave it back to her. But I'm like, you know what? That if the same thing is true if you own a shop. Take care of your clients. I can tell you, if I had a shop and that was me, all of her friends would have brought their cars to me. Everybody. Yeah. Because I took care of her. I understood the situation. And it was like, she was really nervous about it. And that's, sometimes you get customers that are like that. You find weird stuff in the car. They run into something. I've had people that have come to me and said, hey, I had somebody hit me. I've got a white car and there's all these black marks all over. I'm gonna have to get a paint job. And you go out there and you're like, that's paint transfer. That's like super simple. Easy. I can take that off with my finger and just do it. I watched Jamie Buchanan do this in Morganton, North Carolina. A guy drove in, and he's got a really nice custom bike, and he had some oil or grease or something all over these aluminum pieces. Jamie just talking to him about the bike, took out a rag and started wiping the stuff off, got everything off for the guy. He's like, oh, thanks, man. I was so worried it was going to die. What do I owe you? And he's like, don't worry about it. And he left. And Jamie goes, that guy has a $40,000 car that I'm sure he'll bring it to me next week to get it detailed. Yep. So that's the thing is that little bit of extra care goes a really long way for your clients.
Yep. I wholeheartedly believe in that, man. I've been in many of those situations. It's you just gotta do exactly. I live by this motto too. And I apply this to my own life and business is if you say you're going to do something, do it well. Just don't say you're going to do it, not do it. But if you're going to do it and do it well. Don't half-ass it. Just do it well. So that's just my take on it, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely handed down, I think, from generation to generation. That whole don't half-ass it. That was my dad's famous.
Don't half-ass it.
Don't half-ass it.
What are you related to Matthew McConaughey?
Don't half-ass it. Yeah,
he definitely got the looks. You got the short end of that
end of the stick. But no, my dad's like that. My dad's an old school, hardened, worker guy. And if you're going to do it right, and don't half-ass it, and own up to your own mistakes.
That's awesome, man.
Let's go, man.
So last question for you. Are there any things that reflecting on your journey that you think would be very helpful for a new business owner or a growing business owner for them to take to heart and implement either in their personal life or in their business? And maybe it's both, like you point out.
Oh man, there's so many things. One thing that we probably haven't talked about is, I'll put this for people who have families, because I have 4 kids, right? And I'm busy. And all my kids, I've got a 3-year-old, I've got twin boys that are 4, and I've got a 7-year-old. So they keep me busy. And I will say, if you are a family man or a family woman, when you leave work, leave it at work. Don't take it home with you. Because I struggled for years with wondering about what other people were doing in my market, what other detailers are doing, or this customer reaching out to me, or I need to contact people for tomorrow. At the end of the day, the car's still going to be there. The customer's going to still be there. Most people that you want to do business with. Let me focus on that. Most people that you want to do business with, not just everyone, will wait for your time. Okay, the people that are rushing you are not. They're not the people you want to deal with. So when you get home, shut it off. Become the person that you are. Become the husband, the wife be yourself. Focus on. I'm not perfect at it. Like I try to focus on myself. Like I need to hit the gym. I really, really need to do that. I really do. So I'm taking my own advice, and I'm gonna put it out there that you just need to take care of yourself, and your business will be there the next day regardless.
Yeah.
It's not gonna set a fire.
For sure. And I struggle with that a lot. I'm the guy at the business that I don't take vacations and I work.
You've gotten better the last
couple
of
years. But
Got you,
usually
man.
it's because years and years ago, I came home one night and I've got 3 kids. And we had a wicker basket, right? And the rule always was you don't have your cell phone at the dinner table, right? You put it in the basket. The call, you can answer the text, you can do whatever. And one night I got home and it was like 5:30. We weren't eating yet, and I was doing something. I was talking to a client, and my wife literally grabbed my phone, put it in the basket, and she said, "At 5 o'clock, you're mine." And it was a really, really good lesson to get back and say, "Hey, that's it. When you're home, be present at whatever you're doing." And that's the way I look at it. It's like if you're going to be in the shop and you're working on a car, don't be thinking about tomorrow's appointment. Don't be thinking about marketing. You're working on that car. That is the most important thing that you're doing right now. Live in the moment to take care of stuff. And that is like Jody's really good at this. We can be at an event and we're marketing and we're training, we're doing stuff, and it'll break, and he wants to go surfing or something. And he's
let's go
100% into surfing, man.
Let's go.
It don't matter. The business is gone. And I think a lot of people look at that as if, well, you got to care about it 100 days. No, you don't have to.
I care about it, but I separate it.
You have to have a way away from the business. You have to walk away from it and put on a different set of eyes and look at something else. It doesn't matter if it's whether you're into hiking or weightlifting or your kids or cheerleading or whatever it's into, you got to be into something else. There has to be more to your life than your business, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you did, right? When you and I, let's say we're it's several years from now, I'm going to be 102, you're going to be 40, and we're talking about what we did in our lives. We're retired, right? We're going to talk about our family and our kids and our grandkids. We may mention what we did for work, but that's not what it's going to be about.
No, it's going to be about the connections you made at work.
And the stuff. Oh, yeah, you lived in Ohio. Hey, my mom was from Ohio. What part of Ohio? Oh, right, Canton. That's what it's about. And I think people lose sight of that because there's so many influencers today that are pushing that grind, man. You got to get up at 4 a.m. if your competitors are getting up at 5, and it's like, you don't. Your business is going to be there when you get there. That phone call that you got that left a message, you don't have to call them back in 14.2 seconds. Get to the point where people understand, I'm going to get back to you, but if it really is going to make a difference whether I call you back in 1 minute or 2, then
I don't want you.
That probably wasn't the right customer for you in the first place, because they're going to end up with, a $75,000 lawsuit for a hairline scratch somewhere. So,
it is a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's really important, right? To both your points is making sure that you take that time. I mean, I can count on my hands, literally. Judy and I have been married 37 years. I can literally count on both my hands probably the number of times we have not had a date night in a week. Every week we go on a date, right? And on Monday nights, we always had family night. But I remember before we created our business, Rod and I were working at the same company together. And I would get up early at 6 a.m. and I would work till 6 p.m. And I'm like, well, I'll just dedicate the night. And I remember one morning I was sitting there and I was on this call. It wasn't going that great. And it was about 7 o'clock. And I was just thinking about my wife. And I'm like, my wife is getting the kids ready for school by herself every single day. And I'm missing out on that. So the very next day, dude, I started waking my kids up. I would make the breakfast. I'd have music going. I made up these silly little songs to wake up the kids, and they still like, hey, Dad, sing that stupid song, right?
Yep.
And it became part of the day, right? So I just got up earlier to work out. I came in and I went straight into dad mode. And then once the kids were out the door, I was in business mode.
Yep.
Right. So being able to separate those is so important for your family, for you, for your business. Dude, if you will dedicate the right time for each component and be present in each, it will pay dividends in every aspect of your life.
I agree, because it definitely, you don't want to ruffle feathers with your wife, obviously, like answering phone calls at like 8 o'clock at night. And, if you just shoot a quick text, whatever, but you gotta be present, man. You gotta separate the two, you gotta find time for yourselves. And luckily, like, before we even got on a call, I booked a cruise for me and my family for spring break. And, I'm fortunate I could do that. Again, it's a freedom, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to be able to create memories with my kids, and I get to step away from the business. And, you got to have time too, and again, you got to give the guys, your staff, you got to do the same thing for them. I give them paid time off. They got to take it. And I remind them every year, like, you guys got to take it, cause you got to focus on yourself.
That's
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Justin, man, this has been a phenomenal discussion, man.
Thank you.
Dude, for those of you that don't know Justin, and I just realized I misspelled Justin. How the hell though you misspelled Justin?
You got that.
Justin. It's like,
Justin.
Dude, what's up with that?
Wow, that's
so check him
dyslexia.
out. EcoSign Detailing, Detail Supply Depot out of Ohio, not Utah.
Yep.
And dude, this guy is a wealth of knowledge. I know he will. If you have a question, he will give you some experiential advice. So
I will try my best.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
good.
Well, we appreciate you coming on.
What did you drop?
The hell did we just drop?
I have no idea.
Oh, it's my phone.
Oh, it's your phone.
Well, there
that's
you go.
Funny. So
drop my phone. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you go out, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Keep us doing this. And if there's people you want to see on the show, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. So thank you so much, Justin. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you guys for having me on. I truly appreciate it. Seriously. It was nice chatting with you guys.
It's great. So, guys, we will check you same time, same bad channel just next week. So, see ya.